total population, find the divisor, and find your quota. So let's do that, which we don't have to do because we've already done it twice now. So I'm just going to rewrite all of our information. So our divisor was originally 516.24 repeating. Our quota is going to be Sylvania divided by our divisor, so we end up getting 17.18 roughly, 9.38 roughly, 13.17, and 5.27. Well, remember our initial is, I'm going to actually give us a little more space. I'm going to go here. I should have done that when I made these, but I didn't realize it scooted it all in. Okay, so our initial, remember, we would just drop all of these, take off those wonderful decimals. But once again, like we know from the previous two examples, we're one short. So now the difference is, it says, find the modified divisor by using trial and error, same deal, by reducing or increasing the divisor. I'm going to hold off on reading the rest of that because it will make sense when we start doing it. Now what we're going to do, so I'm going to scoot up for a second and just kind of walk us through these different methods. This method, remember, we cut off the decimal and we just gave the extra seats to whoever had the biggest decimal. That was Hamilton's method. All right, well now we just did Jefferson's method, which is then what we did is we cut off the decimals, right? But then we kind of come up with a modified divisor, and then so it will clearly be moved up. And again, you're not using any rounding methods at all. It's just clearly the value, and you take off the decimal. Well, now with this one, we're going to use our original rounding ways, which means if it's 0.5 or bigger, that will be rounded up. If it's less than 0.5, it will be rounded down. So what I'm going to do is I have to figure out a modified divisor. And what it says here is, this is kind of walking you through how to do it, increase the divisor if the total representatives is larger than what you need. Decrease it if it's less than what you need. So this is less than what we need, okay? So what we need to do then is decrease this number. And again, it's a total trial and error, all right? So what I'm going to do is we already tried, let's just go back up and look to save us some time. We already tried a divisor of 490. And what happens here is that if we used 490 again, just because we did all this work, so I don't want us to have to repeat it, this, using the rules of rounding, this would go up to 18, this would go up to 10, this would go up to 14, this would go up to 6, and we have way too many. All right, so that means, and we're lucky because, we've already done the work here, but that means that my divisor, my modified divisor I have to choose is going to be between 490 and 516. So what I'm going to try is 510. So let's do it a second try. And that's going to be dividing by 510. So in Excel or your calculator, I'm going to do 8871 divided by 510. And I get 17.39. All right. 4841 divided by 510. 9.49. Now I'm going to do 6797, divide that by 510, 13.33. 2722, divide that by 510, 5.33. So I know this modified divisor actually worked because if I follow, which will be known as your initial, the rules of rounding, this would go to 17. This becomes 9.5, so that would go to 10. This would be rounded to 13, and this would be rounded to 5. So I can clearly see only one of them went up, or I can actually add all these up, and we get the 45 seat total that we need. All right, so the difference is with Webster's is you round accordingly to 0.5 goes up or below 0.5 rounds down. All right, I'll see you in the next video.